On the Ukrainian front lines, Russian soldiers find themselves vulnerable and without cover. FPV drones now dominate the battlefield, leaving nowhere safe. Every soldier proceeds with caution, acutely aware that an attack from above could come without warning. This defines the new character of modern combat, where the sky itself has become the most lethal battlefield. 2 Russian soldiers were observed establishing new positions in a wooded area near Donetsk. They were under drone surveillance for some time, unaware that their actions were being monitored. Once their coordinates were precisely confirmed, Ukrainian forces initiated a mortar strike on their position. The immediate blast of shrapnel from the mortar incapacitates one soldier on the spot. The second soldier took cover behind trees, but Ukrainian forces were determined to target him as well. An FPV drone was deployed, moving in swiftly to strike the last remaining soldier. Fighters of the Black Forest Brigade identified a Russian Buk M2 medium-range multifunctional self-propelled surface-to-air missile system and successfully directed artillery fire onto the target. The Buk M2 is a Russian mobile SAM system designed to engage aircraft, helicopters, and cruise missiles. A few Russian soldiers taking shelter amongst trees to rest were identified by the 3rd Assault Brigade. A drone released an explosive payload directly onto their position. One of the soldiers scrambled from the trees and took refuge in a nearby barracks. However, another drone strike followed, targeting the very shelter he sought. The other soldier, wounded and unable to relocate, was hit again by another drone-delivered explosive before he could find safety. Both Russian soldiers were ultimately unable to escape and were neutralized by the drone attacks. Near Marinka, in the Donetsk region, a group of Russian soldiers was detected moving towards concealed positions inside dilapidated buildings. Once their location was compromised, the soldiers quickly fell under attack as Ukraine's 414th Unmanned Attack Aviation Brigade dispatched FPV drones. The first drone descends, eliminating one of the 3 soldiers instantly. Another attempts to dive into a makeshift bunker, but the drone strikes again. At this point, they were left utterly defenseless. A high-explosive drone strike then obliterated the underground position. The final Russian soldier, hiding inside the house gripped by panic and fear, was targeted by a 3rd drone. In the end, the entire assault team was wiped out. A squad of Russian soldiers pushes forward to assault Ukrainian trenches, only to discover them to be eerily empty. As they scout the location for any Ukrainian personnel, they remain oblivious to the fact they have walked into a trap. Shortly after, Ukrainian FPV drones initiated a pinpoint strike. One soldier taking cover beneath a tree was immediately hit by a drone, while another within the trench was also eliminated by the attack. This engagement shows how Ukrainian forces leverage drones to assert control over the battlefield, transforming seemingly abandoned positions into deadly ambushes. Once more, a lone Russian soldier is seen isolated and exposed in an open field. Across the front, Russian troops are often found either retreating from combat or having been left behind in desperate circumstances. The soldier scans his surroundings, searching for a secure place to conceal himself. Unbeknownst to him, a drone is already tracking his every move. The FPV drone operator has already dispatched a drone, closing in for the strike. The Russian soldier takes cover within dense foliage, compelling the FPV pilot to meticulously search for his exact location. As rain begins to fall, time is of the essence. The rapidly approaching drone finally locked onto the soldier's position, who was lying beneath a bush, attempting to rest. In that instant, the drone struck, leaving no chance for escape. Here, a Ukrainian FPV drone pilot employs a fiber-optic drone to engage a Russian position where soldiers are hiding, carrying out the attack in mere seconds. Here is another house being used as a hideout by Russian soldiers. On first inspection, it might appear empty, But a closer look reveals what's to come. A drone laden with explosives has been dispatched. The soldiers inside hastily attempt to barricade the windows, but it's a futile gesture against the incoming attack. The FPV drone zeroes in on its target, penetrating through a window. A powerful explosion erupts, reducing the house to rubble. Following the first drone strike, chaotic movement begins inside. Panic erupts among the Russian soldiers in the face of the unexpected assault. Their only options are to stay and fight or to flee. One soldier successfully escapes, but others are still trapped inside. A second drone is launched, moving in for another strike. This final attack hits the house, and none of the soldiers inside survive, except the one who escaped. Throughout the month, Ukrainian forces have sustained operations in the Andriivka region, relentlessly engaging and pushing back Russian troops. Russian forces attempted to ambush Ukrainian units by setting FPV drone traps on roadways. However, Ukrainian forces, already wise to this strategy, systematically eliminated the Russian drones one by one. Ironically, this was a tactic pioneered by Ukraine, which the Russians are now attempting to replicate, in this case, unsuccessfully. Ukrainian forces now possess the capability to manufacture their own drones, enabling them to deploy them in greater numbers across the front lines. Soldiers of the 4th Operational Brigade, Rubizh, cleared a village in the Pokrovsk direction. Ukrainian forces have once again struck a Russian oil refinery with drones. Russian officials acknowledged a small fire at the Gazprom Neftechem petrochemical facility, attributing it to debris from downed Ukrainian UAVs. A Russian military vehicle speeds along a supply route when a Ukrainian kamikaze drone descends for an attack. As the drone closes in, the soldiers recognize the danger and hastily abandon the vehicle. But it is too late. The drone impacts and the vehicle is completely destroyed. Russian troops traveling along logistic supply lines have come under ceaseless Ukrainian drone assaults. Vehicles transporting soldiers, ammunition, and supplies to the front have been targeted sequentially. FPV and kamikaze drones strike with precision, leaving the convoys completely exposed. In the Bryansk direction, Ukrainian fiber-optic FPV drones from the Panama unit of the 1st Special Purpose Brigade conducted a precise strike on a Russian field ammunition depot. This operation not only destroyed vast quantities of munitions, but also targeted other enemy equipment in the vicinity, severely disrupting Russian supply lines. The use of fiber-optic drones enables operators to maintain real-time observation from a safe distance, underscoring the growing sophistication of Ukrainian drone warfare. Each strike is calculated, proving how a small, agile drone can neutralize high-value targets that would typically demand heavy artillery. This operation highlights the expanding role of FPV drones in modern warfare, blending precision, speed, and strategic effect. In the skies above the front, Ukrainian FPV drones relentlessly hunt their prey. Within seconds, reconnaissance drones launched by Russian forces are spotted and eliminated one after another. The Reed drone project is a collaboration between several elite units, including Air Defense Forces and the Harpoon and Pentagon teams of the 225th Separate Strike Regiment. Each drone strike is surgical, denying the enemy vital intelligence and effectively blinding them on the battlefield. Over open fields and dense forests, Russian reconnaissance missions are systematically dismantled. A Russian truck is relentlessly chased through a forest by a Ukrainian fiber-optic FPV drone. The pursuit is tense and persistent. Eventually, the Russian vehicle crashes into a tree, presenting the drone with the perfect opportunity to strike. This operation by the 112th TDF Brigade demonstrates the precision and tenacity of Ukrainian drone units against moving enemy logistics. The full impact of Ukrainian FPV drone operations is undeniable. Across the front lines, Russian soldiers are exposed and vulnerable, unable to predict or defend against these swift, precise attacks. Vehicles, artillery systems, and fortified positions have all been eliminated by relentless drone campaigns, leaving the enemy in a constant scramble for safety. As the smoke settles and the sound of explosions subsides, the conclusion is clear. The FPV drone has become an indispensable tool of war, turning even the most cautious military advance into a perilous gamble. Russian soldiers, once secure in their positions, now confront a brutal new reality.